1 week later. Divergence.
Part 0. Where is that? Who are you? Part 1. As luck would have it, just as Kunigisa and I had originally planned, we were able to return to the mainland on the afternoon exactly 1 week after our arrival. Kunigisa having a tendency, albeit not as obsessive as her vertical motion thing, to hate changing her plans once she's made them. This set me at ease a bit. But come to think of it, Kunigisa's purpose in coming to the island was, at least in part, to satisfy her interest in the various things that had occurred there in the past. I asked her about it.
My investigation is basically over,
She said. It seemed she had been up to some various things herself. Not that I wasn't wondering what she had been up to, but if that was the case, there was no problem for now. I just wanted to get home anyway. I sat on a sofa in a room on the same cruiser that had brought us to the island. Kunigisa lay sleeping on the sofa across from me. Now that we were set to return to the mainland, I had half expected something to happen with Hikari or Akari, but they gave nothing more than the usual dutiful formalities.
Thank you very much. Please visit again if you have the chance. Take care now.
I don't even have to get into Teriko's farewell. She didn't utter a single word, as if to say, I've already spoken to you enough to last a lifetime. But whatever. That's how my life goes. Akane Soniyama and Shinya Sakaki, the two perpetrators of the case, were of course no longer allowed to stay on the island, and were currently lying low in the next room. I didn't know what they might be talking about. We were heading back to the mainland as planned, and they were heading back because they had been kicked out. It was the opposite of being marooned, but if you thought about it, mainland was wholly subjective. Yayoi and Maki remained on the island. Yayoi's doubts regarding Iria and Rei seemed to have been swept away, but whether or not that was a good thing wasn't for me to know. Of course, it was up to Yayoi to decide how she lived her own life, and not my place to butt in. As for Maki, she was a sly fox to the end. So, how much did you really know? I asked her before leaving the island. She responded with an ambiguous smile.
Who's to say? Maybe I don't really know anything. Like the whole thing was really just an act.
If I may, I'm under the impression you knew about Akane and Shinya's plans all along, and were aiding them in creating alibis.
What if I was?
She said nonchalantly.
What if I was?
Then you're an accomplice. That's all.
But it's not like I had heard anything from Shinya, and he didn't try to tell me anything.
If he had, you would have been embedding a murder. You invited him over 2 nights in a row, helping him create an alibi that was hard for me to trace. So, what's the real story? If you were really cooperating with Shinya, then...
Then what?
Nothing. I guess nothing would happen. I shrugged. Nothing at all. In reality, I wanted to tell her something, but there was no point. If she really possessed those powers, there was no need to say anything, and even if she didn't, there was no need. Either way, that was that. It's just that I had doubts. Shinya and Akane's serial murder plot seemed just too perfect. Like it relied on one too many coincidences. In presenting my findings to Iria, I had made great efforts to step around that. It's not that their plans had been sloppy. It was like they had been unrehearsed. Yet at the same time, everything had been prepared ahead of time. Or rather, it felt like luck was very much on their side. Yeah, it was like they had factored in coincidences and made friends with luck, as if the lay of the entire island and everything on it were on their side. Nonsense. Of course, they probably were all just coincidences, and probably just examples of the law of great numbers, and those two had simply won a bet, so to speak. Anything will look fishy if you think about it selectively. Occam's razor. However, on that island was someone who knew everything, and I do mean everything, even the future. Was even that a coincidence? Good grief. Indeed, it probably was. I could draw no other conclusion. Even if it wasn't a coincidence, it was all over already, and there was no way to prove it. Plus, Shinya and Akane sure weren't talking, and there was no point in pursuing it. Even if there was a point, it had nothing to do with me. And even if it had something to do with me, I wasn't interested. So there we were. Instead, I asked a question. Are you the one who told Teriko I was in trouble? There was no reason anyone should have known I was about to be done in by Akane in Yayoi's room, and thus, there was no reason Teriko should have conveniently busted in, with all the grace and good timing of an action heroine like that. Unless there was someone who could predict the future, that is.
Do you think I would do something like that?
No.
Then I probably didn't, huh?
Maki gave a wicked smile. I decided any further inquiry would be meaningless, so I didn't even thank her. There was no reason to. I wonder what's going to happen now. To the island. To Iria. Maki gave an expectedly curt response. I shrugged once again. Well, how about telling me what's going to happen to me and Kunigisa, as a continuation of that compatibility reading from the other night? Are the two of us going to stay like this forever?
My readings are expensive.
In that case, I'll have to decline.
The two of you will stay that way for a little while longer.
Maki told me the very second I gave up. What a perverse contrarian. A little while?
Yes, a little while.
How long?
2 years plus change.
I tilted my head at her. You mean it'll turn into something else after 2 years? Or it'll completely fade away?
Well, I don't know.
She laughed a bit cynically.
I can't see more than 2 years into the future.
Huh? Hadn't heard that before. I probably failed to conceal my surprise.
It's a secret,
she continued.
So I don't know what will become of you and Kunigisa 2 years from now.
You mean that's the limit of your power?
I mean I'm going to die,
she said plainly.
Time is relative to me. As far as I'm concerned, all time stops at that point. 2 years from now, on March 21st at 3:23 p.m. That's the date and time that I will die.
All I can do was be silent.
Spewing guts and brains all over the place. It'll be a fitting death for a rascal like me.
Can't you avoid it?
When the time comes, be sure to accuse my killer. Just like you did this time. I'm asking you now, as a favor.
What's the point in my accepting? You can't see whether or not I've fulfilled it.
That's true,
she said, and stuck out her right hand. To me, she looked proud that she, too, had an unforeseeable future.
Let's shake hands.
Sure. Might not be bad to pretend we're friends now, that we're at the very end. Even having said that, I never did grab her hand. In the end, I never found out why she picked on me so much. It probably didn't matter, and it was probably better that way. Yet, still, I had various doubts.
Excuse me.
The cabin door opened, and in walked Ray.
We'll be docking soon. Please get ready.
Sure, I replied. Time to wake up Kunigisa. She seemed to be sleeping awfully comfortably, so I didn't really want to, but I couldn't just leave her. Although, that would have been pretty funny.
Thank you so much for everything.
Ray took the time to say.
You especially. We're grateful to Kunigisa as well, but you...
Made it entertaining, Miss Iria Akagami.
Yes.
Ray nodded, without any particular sign of surprise.
You bet. I had tons of fun.
Iria Akagami grinned a genuine happy grin, a smile she hadn't given once during her performance as Ray. This wasn't acting. It was a real, human smile.
How did you know Ray and I switched? Since when?
I just thought of it now. It was just a wild guess. I figured if I was wrong, you'd just get a little ticked off. It wasn't like a breach of your human rights or anything, I said to Iria. If you had left this room quicker, I probably wouldn't have even noticed. Or at least, I wouldn't have said anything.
Is that right?
She nodded solemnly.
I always get sloppy at the end, huh? My grandfather used to say so all the time. But you must have had some reason to think that. Please enlighten me.
What is it to you?
I can use it for future reference.
So she was going to keep at it?
I sure am. Yayoi still hasn't noticed, plus Maki... Well, I don't know about her.
Iria said with a merry giggle. With her innocent bearing, the real Iria seemed to lack a certain refinement in comparison to the one on the island. Ray, that is. As though the fake version, being able to play at realness, could be more real. But Iria just seemed very free. Well, let's see, I said. You didn't talk very much, did you, Iria? It was so unnatural. I'm sure you thought that if you spoke, you would give yourself away. But on the other hand, not talking at all was just as much of a blunder. So you made Teriko act silent as well, to create a sort of universal lack of presence, thereby covering yourself.
No, that's just how she is,
Iria said.
I can tell her apart from the other two, even if she's not wearing her glasses, because she never talks.
Apparently, that's just how she was. Well, if you thought about it, it didn't really seem like Teriko had been acting. Is that right? Well, either way, I figured if that Iria is an imposter, there's only one person who could take your place. After all, Akari and Hikari and Teriko are triplets. I guess it's a little counterintuitive that they couldn't have swapped places because they're triplets.
You said it.
She smiled. It was the smile of someone addressing an equal. At least, that's what I thought. And then there was something about your aura. Like, Teriko never seemed to be doing much work. That's because she was your SP, but I never really saw Ray do much work either. I was wondering about that.
I poured your tea, didn't I?
Yeah, it was great. I had forgotten to thank her earlier, and did so now. Oh yeah, and also, the first time I visited your room, you were sitting on the sofa, and Iria was standing. It seemed like it should have been the other way around.
My.
She was gleeful. I supposed Ray had been copying such mannerisms all along, but there was nothing like the real thing.
Go on.
Right. Where was I? If you thought about it, Akari and Hikari obviously knew about the switch, which meant that they, too, were quite the pair of actresses. Especially Hikari, who'd been so spry and pitiable, but lying all along. Somebody owed her an Oscar. The nail in the coffin was when the fake Iria covered for you. That night, Iria and Yayoi were talking together all night. Isn't that so? Ray was probably asking for her culinary advice. She's really a maid, after all, so it wouldn't be strange if she had an interest in cooking.
Yes, Yayoi, believing that Ray was me, wouldn't give me the time of day. That was a miscalculation.
Iria said sulkily.
And actually, where does Ray get off performing me like that? I don't change clothes in front of gentlemen, and my personality isn't that crappy.
Apparently, her personality wasn't that crappy. Sounded less than truthful to me. So what were you really doing that night anyway? I asked.
That's a secret.
It's a secret?
An unmarried lady never discloses her evening's affairs,
she said mysteriously. I had a feeling if I pressed any further, it would just tick her off, so I decided to let it go. I wasn't looking for any more trouble. I didn't like making waves after all. Anyway, even though Iria did nothing to protect Hikari, even treating her like a criminal, she went as far as lying to save your hide. Why? Because Ray is closer to Iria than Hikari is? Maybe, but something about that answer doesn't float my boat. Living on a distant island like that, I would think you'd all get pretty close and cozy. I don't think human beings are that cold a species.
That's true,
Iria agreed.
They're like family. My precious family, who stayed by my side even after I was disowned.
Disowned. And the reason for it? Iria nevertheless protected Ray, but not Hikari. Why? Could it be because Ray was really her superior? Someone she had sworn allegiance to? I clapped my hands together. Something like that?
You're marvelous. I want to hug you.
I wouldn't mind.
I will refrain.
I have a question in turn. Why exactly did you switch places with Ray and pose as a maid? Is it because, even if you've been disowned, as the Akagami granddaughter you're being cautious in presenting yourself to visitors? There was no guarantee that there wasn't some unsavory individual mixed in with all those geniuses. Vetting them in advance wouldn't always work. Sometimes things happened, as they just had. Thus, she had prepared an imposter, a body double. Was that it? But Iria shook her head daintily.
No,
She said.
I just wanted to see who would notice first. Just a little prank. No reason, really.
A prank. It was a deflating reply, but I didn't think she was lying this time. And until now, not a single one of those so-called geniuses had caught on. In all these years, unnoticed by anyone, geniuses are nothing special. Perhaps that was what Iria thought, and she would probably continue to think so.
But you noticed.
If you hadn't pushed it at the end, I wouldn't have. Even if I'd noticed, I'd have kept quiet. You should have just stayed at the mansion instead of coming on the boat with us.
Well, I have to go apologize to Aikawa for all the unnecessary hoopla. There's still a visit scheduled. We're going to meet straight after dropping you off. Oh, Aikawa's going to be ticked. Not a person you want to see get angry, even though it's inevitable. Plus, well, I wanted to talk to you like this. You showed me such a good time after all.
It's an honor.
Say,
Iria said, with a sweet smile.
Won't you return to the mansion sometime? Kunigisa, Maki, Yayoi, and you. I think we'd make a terrific family. I hear you've taken a liking to Akari and Hikari, and I don't mind letting you have your way with them.
That's not the kind of thing you say to a family member.
True, but I'm serious. I'm always serious. So how about it? Like my proposition?
She innocuously stuck her tongue out at me. I was appalled more than anything. To be written off as free-spirited, or vibrancy, or lack of restraint. This was simply too... I don't like murderers. Iria laughed. I didn't know why she was laughing.
No matter what reasons they might have?
No matter what reasons they might have.
I see.
She nodded.
I'm not sure what you heard from Hikari and Teriko, but you can't possibly believe that they told you the truth and nothing but the truth. Those triplets are basically liars. I think the fact that they never told you about me and Ray's switch is proof enough of that.
I don't know.
I didn't call the police simply because it wouldn't have been any fun that way. The authorities are so boorish,
she said, rolling up her left sleeve. This revealed her lovely, perfectly unscarred skin.
Please, excuse me then,
she said, with a big smile, and exited the room. Oh boy, oh boy. So that was her punchline. What was real, and what was a lie? Who was real, and who was a lie? It's a mixed-up world, and I, for one, never claim to know anything. Nor do I think all people are honest and all things are as they seem. What could I say? Really? Sheesh. Such a jester. I thought to wake up Kunigisa, telling her that we were almost there, but seeing her peaceful face as she mewed like a kitten made me not want to do it. It wouldn't be too late to wake her up after we reached the coast. The rule of thumb is, the longer you can stay dreaming, the better. Nevertheless, family. Man, I'm gonna regret turning down that proposition, I said to no one in particular, expecting no response. I knew that there was only one possible reply. For me, there was only one person I could ever call family. A load of nonsense, I muttered in my usual tone.